So there's this new paper out from Meta with AI legend Yann LeCun as a co-author, and it's making some serious waves. It kind of challenges the entire foundation of modern AI and asks a question that could really define where we go from here.
So let's get right to it. Is this really the end for the AI we all know and use? Things like GPT and Llama? Are we on the verge of a massive shift in how AI actually thinks? Let's dive in and break it down. Okay, so to really get why this new meta paper is such a big deal, we've got to first understand how things work right now. All right, so the AI we're all familiar with, they're technically called autoregressive models. They build sentences piece by piece, one at a time, just going from left to right. And look, this method works. I mean, it works surprisingly well, right? But it has some major drawbacks. And this is something that AI pioneer Yann LeCun has been talking about for years. He basically argues that just being good at predicting the next word isn't intelligence. Not really. And this quote from him, it just hits the nail on the head. For LeCun, being smart isn't about being a good talker. It's about having an internal model of how the world works, which is something that today's AIs just don't have. So what are the problems with this word-by-word prediction game? Well, for one, it's slow, and it's incredibly expensive to run. But the bigger issue is philosophical. The AI is trapped by the rules of language. It doesn't actually understand the concepts behind the words. It can't know where it's going with a sentence until it gets there, one word at a time. And this is where Meta's new paper totally flips the script. They're introducing a whole new architecture called VL-JEPA. It stands for Vision Language Joint Embedding Predictive Architecture. Yeah, I know it's a mouthful, but the idea behind it is actually pretty revolutionary. And this is the absolute game changer. VL-JEPA doesn't generate anything. It doesn't try to predict the next word. Its only job, its entire purpose is to understand. It just looks at text or images and builds an abstract internal representation of the meaning. Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, we need to look at two totally different ways an AI can think about information. We're talking about thinking in words, which is called token space, versus thinking in meanings or concepts, which is called semantic space. First up, you've got token space. This is the playground of today's LLMs. Everything, and I mean everything, is about the building blocks of language: words, grammar, punctuation, and the specific order they come in. The entire goal is just to guess the next piece of the puzzle. But then you have semantic space. This is a whole different ballgame, and it's where VL-JEPA lives. Here, it's not about the words, it's about the meaning. Similar ideas get clustered together no matter how you phrase them. It's about capturing the entire concept all at once. Let's make this super concrete. On the left, in semantic space, an AI sees a dog is running and a puppy is playing and thinks, hey, those are basically the same idea. Animals, action, outdoors. It gets the vibe. But on the right, in token space, a sentence is just a mechanical process, a sequence of tokens that have to be put together in a very specific order. This little chart really lays it all out. You can see the focus, the process, but look at that last row, the goal. For LLMs, it's just about spitting out text. For VL-JEPA, the whole point is to build an internal understanding before you even think about saying a single word. That's the key. Okay, so what? Why is this shift from words to meanings such a big deal? Well, it turns out the payoff for thinking this way could be huge. Well, for starters, if an AI thinks in concepts, it can reason way faster and more efficiently. You don't need these gigantic, energy-guzzling models anymore, because you're not memorizing language, you're understanding ideas. And honestly, this is way closer to how we think, right? We get an idea first, and then we figure out the words to describe it. All right, let's bring it all home. We started with a big question. What does all this mean for the future of AI and the large language models we use every single day? So is this it, the end of LLMs? The answer, maybe surprisingly, is a definite no. This isn't about replacing them. It's about evolution. It's about signaling the start of a brand new, and maybe much smarter, direction for AI. What we're really talking about is the beginning of what Yann LeCun calls a world model. And the goal here is way more ambitious than just predicting text. It's about building an AI that has a genuine internal understanding of how the world actually works. And this right here is probably the most important takeaway. In this future vision, LLMs don't go away, they just get a new job. The world model, something like VL-JEPA, becomes the core, the part that does the actual thinking and understanding. The LLM then becomes the communication layer on top, Basically, the mouth that lets this deeper intelligence talk to us. You see, this shift from just copying our words to actually understanding our world is absolutely massive. And it leaves us with this one kind of mind-blowing question to think about. If we actually pull this off, if we build an AI that genuinely understands our reality, what in the world is it going to tell us?